Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into the new palette that Goss just launched and also the new blush from Gucci. This video is going to be a little bit different than my traditional reviews. I just got done filming about 2 hours ago. I plugged in the memory card into my computer and I realized that my entire footage, except for my final thoughts, doesn't have any sound. My mic was on and it was plugged into my camera, but I don't know if it wasn't plugged in all the way. I'm not sure what happened, but all of the tutorials of me applying both of these products, there's no audio. I'm gonna walk you through the application. I'm gonna do it a little bit different. We're gonna make it work. I don't wanna have to go ahead and refilm this and have you guys wait another day. We're gonna keep the ball rolling. We're gonna make it work. So let's go ahead and talk about the two products that I'm gonna be talking about in today's video, and then we will jump into the applications. So we're gonna first start with the new palette from Goss. This is called the Amber palette. It retails for $55. It just launched along with a new shade in the Kohl Eye Pencil in the shade Crystal Merlot. This palette was kindly sent to me in PR from Beautylish and Goss. I'm gonna walk you guys through the eye look that I'm wearing and how I created it using the palette. I'm also going to be sharing some swatches of this palette and also some comparisons so you guys can see how this palette compares to a few others that I have in my collection that I found that were similar. That's the first one. The second one is the Gucci blush. Look at this packaging. Look at this packaging. Let me show you the difference in size. So this is the traditional packaging for the bronzer and the powder. So I have both of them here, okay? They're the exact same packaging. But look at the blushes. They are like the mini version and I'm here for it. So cute. Look at this little piece right here. Isn't this so cute? Look how beautiful, you guys. Isn't it so pretty? Oh, now I kind of ruined the embossing because I was swatching it and playing around with it, but that's how it goes, right? But it is just super cute. I love this little detail right here with the pink little piece that allows you to lift the lid. It's just so adorable. This blush, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I don't know if it was kind of a fluke website thing, but last week they had one shade available, which this is the shade number 4 Bright Coral. They had one shade available and it popped up on the Gucci Beauty website, so I went ahead and grabbed it and they're gone. I don't know what happened, but it's not on the website anymore. Now, it does look like they're gonna have 4 shades in this blush. Up here on the screen is an image that I got from Trend Mood's Instagram page. So they have a photo of all 4 of the shades that are gonna be launched in this Gucci blush. I paid $49 for this blush. It is 0.19 ounces, which is 5.5 grams worth of product. It's kind of a pricey blush, but it's Gucci, so there you go. It came in this really cute little pouch right here. So cute. And also, anytime you order from Gucci, they always send you these bags. I love these bags. So last year I bought 2 foundations and the primer from the Gucci Beauty website, and they sent me 3 of these bags. And I actually ended up using them for Christmas gifts. I put like a bottle of wine or a bottle of sparkling cider down inside of it and gave them for Christmas gifts. It's perfect. I love these cute little bags. So if you order from the Gucci Beauty website, you will get these cute bags, which is fun. But they just pay attention to detail, which I'm here for. So in today's video, I'm going to try on the blush and show you guys how it looks. And then I will, of course, do some swatches of the blush next to a few other blushes that I have in my collection that are similar in tone, so you guys can get an idea for the shade. So that's it for the intro. Let's go ahead and jump into the application. So we're gonna first start with the Goss palette. I'm gonna kind of walk you through the eye look that I created with the palette. So I first grabbed this shade and I just took a fluffy brush and I put it all over in the crease and built it up in the crease. This shade is really buttery. It built really well. I think I built it 2 or 3 times. It gave me a little bit of dimension. Then I went into this shade. So this is kind of the pop of color in this palette. When I put this shade over top of the transition shade in my crease, it was a really pretty kind of muted color. But then I wanted to see what this shade looks like on its own. So I went ahead and grabbed a brush and put it on the lid. And you can see that if you don't put it over top of this shade right here, you get instant pigment. Like, it is super bright and super beautiful all on its own. And I like that there's a little bit of versatility with it. So on those days you want that pop of color, you just wear it alone and you have that pop. Or if you want that tone, but you want it toned down a little bit, you can put it over top of this shade and it does kind of mute the color and mute the tone a little bit. A lot of versatility within the shade. It's really pretty. So then I decided to grab this shade, which this is kind of the only sparkly shade in the palette. And I went ahead and put that all over my lid and brought it all the way out to the outer corner. I wanted it to be very soft. I didn't go too heavy with this. And this shade has more of like a purpley silver kind of tone to it. It does look pretty with these tones, but I would have preferred something with a little bit more warmth to it. But anyway, that's here nor there. So then I went ahead and grabbed this shade, and this is the darker shade in the palette. And I kind of just tapped this into the outer corner and kind of smoked it in a little bit. I didn't go too heavy-handed with it. I was able to build it up really well, and it gave me the right amount of depth, but not overtake the look. So it is a really nice color, and it blends really beautifully. For the lower lash line, I went into this shade. I wanted to see what this shade looked like, so I buffed it into the lower lash line. It doesn't really have a lot of depth, which I kind of would have preferred it to have a little bit more depth than it does. These two shades are kind of similar in tone, so it's really hard to tell the difference. There is a difference between these two shades. So this one is a traditional matte, and then this shade is more of it's got kind of a soft shimmer to it. He has that kind of formula in a lot of his palettes, but overall it did work on the lower lash line. And then I took a flat brush and I went in and kind of smoked this darker color right into the outer corner. And I was able to really buff it into the lash line. And it's just a great shade. This is a nice color, nice depth, and it blends beautifully. Then I grabbed the kohl pencil and I basically just put this right at the base of the lashes, and I took that same flat tip brush and kind of blended it out. But this is a nice pencil. I like his pencils to smoke out. They're not my favorite for the waterline, but they do really work well on your lash line. So if you like to take a pencil and put it at the lash line and blend it out with a brush, he has really good pencils for that. So this is the final eye look. I think it turned out really beautiful. I went ahead and paired it with a shade that I created with Christian Audette. This is the shade Bare Nectar. I knew right away when I saw the images of this palette that Bare Nectar would go perfect with it. So this is the lipstick I'm wearing now, and it just complements this palette so beautifully. Let's go ahead and dive into the blush. Before I start the tutorial on this, I'm only wearing foundation and concealer on the face. I don't have any bronzer or contour or anything on, just so you guys can see the actual color of the blush. You can see how beautiful this blush applies. It applies like a dream. And I didn't expect it to do anything different than apply beautifully, because I absolutely love the Gucci bronzer. The bronzer is so unique and never gets muddy, never gets patchy, always blends. It's super soft pigment. The blush is no different. It blends beautifully. The one thing that I will mention though, when I first went to try on this blush, I was using the Patrick Ta blush, and I put it on and I was like, oh, I'm not getting much pigment. So I was thinking maybe it was the brush. So I switched to a more dense brush, which this one is the BK Beauty A507. This is in collaboration with Angie from Hot and Flashy. And don't get me wrong, this helped pick it up a little bit better. This blush is very buildable, but the one thing that I will say is that once I swatched it, so once I put my finger in it and kind of took off that layer, it's more pigmented than it is when I first put my brush into it. So if you get this blush and you put your brush into it and you don't feel like you're getting any pigment, just take your finger and take that top layer off and see if that helps, because I noticed right away that this has much more pigment now that I've swatched it. So just FYI, but this applied beautifully. It builds really well. It's very soft and it has a little bit of a pearlescence to it. So you can kind of see on my face, it kind of reminds me of the ambient blushes from Hourglass. They give that pearlescence to the skin. So soft, so beautiful. This blush doesn't disappoint. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's the application of both of the products. We're kind of keeping it short and sweet, I guess. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. I'm going to swatch the palette next to other palettes that I find that are similar, and also the blush next to a few other blush shades that I have. And then of course we will come back and I will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so now that we've made it through the swatches and comparisons, let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. Let's start with the palette. So the palette performs beautifully. The formula is the same as it is in all of his other palettes. Nothing wrong with the formula at all. I personally absolutely love the Smoky Quartz. Like, I have been using this pretty much nonstop since I got it. It's a great palette and it kind of just gives me those easy eye looks and easy color story, just easy to grab, easy to throw on. The Smoky Quartz I absolutely love. There are a few things that I would personally change in this palette. Number one, I feel like this shimmer shade is a little bit too pink for the color story. It has kind of a pinky purple undertone to it. Even in the swatches, I was like, the color just doesn't seem right. Like, the undertone doesn't seem right to match these tones. To me, it kind of is missing the right undertone for these shades. That's just me on a personal level. These two shades I think are a little bit too similar for a 6-pan palette. This shade really surprised me. It's got a nice pop of color, like a really nice tone, but gives you that pop. Overall, it's a really nice palette. If it's the color story that you are interested in, I don't think you'll be disappointed because he does have a pretty good, this is a nice formula. It blends beautifully. I don't have any harsh lines, harsh edges with it. And these shades right here, it's been my experience that it is a good formula. It doesn't get hard panned. I've used this Smoky Quartz so many times in the last 2 months, and every single time I go into that shade, it's just as beautiful as it was the first day that I got it. So I personally love this shade. And here's the thing, you can see what I'm talking about. Like these two shades are set up the same. So this is a matte and this is kind of his shimmering matte, if you will. But there's some differences between these two shades. That's what I feel like this palette needed. It needed some differences between the two because they're kind of the same color tone. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the palette. Let's jump into the blush. I absolutely freaking love this blush. Do I feel like that I can tell you this blush is worth $49? Absolutely not. Here's the thing. I love the bronzer, and I have said from day one that that bronzer is worth every single dollar because it truly is. This blush is a really nice formula, but I feel like we have a lot of great powder blushes out on the market. I feel like if you want a Gucci blush, you will love this. If you're okay with paying the $49 for it, believe me, you will not be disappointed. I love the texture. I love how buildable the formula is. It gives the cheek this soft iridescence to it. It is absolutely stunning, but I can't fully necessarily say it's worth the $49. So if you decide that you want to spoil yourself and spend the 50 bucks on the blush, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you want to save some money, I recommend waiting till the holidays until it's up on the Sephora website. We know it's going to be available at Sephora. If you're not in a hurry and you can wait and you can completely skip the FOMO, fear of missing out, you can completely skip it. If you can wait, I would recommend waiting for the next Sephora sale and get the 20, 15, 10% off. This is, you don't need to rush out and grab it unless you just love makeup and blush and all that, like me. But I love the packaging. They nailed it. And I love it. I love this blush. It's beautiful. So beautiful. But again, it's completely up to you. If you can wait until the next Sephora event, that's what I would recommend. I would love to get more shades in this formula, even though I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I definitely don't need it, you guys. But if I want to get another shade in this blush, I will probably wait until the Sephora event because I don't need it right now, but I would like to have one. So if you're like me and you don't need it right now and you can wait, I would recommend waiting. But if you can't wait and you want to pick it up, you do you, boo, because we're all rowing in the same boat together. So those are my thoughts on these two products. Sound off down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.